This is BNN, the Bennington News Network.
Hi, Jeff Grimshaw, BNN here at Bennington College. This could only be one-of-a-kind day here. We have been with the governor for the majority of the day. It all started at the North Bennington Railroad Station when the governor arrived.
We solve problems. That's right. Problem busters.
Get tough things done.
The governor with Uncle Norm. We'll fix it.
There was a bevy of press here from all over the region, all the way down to NECN in Boston, and the caravan moved to the Bennington Variety Store, which is a key water distribution point now in the area.
They actually called us. They actually called us and said, we have this great spot for the water here and you should come and drop it off, and you can see how much they have stored.
Pennsylvania.
I'll work you on that.
We gotta fix that.
Maybe that will be the next phase of this process.
Yeah, we gotta get Vermont water. We'll get to work on that.
The governor and the media then moved to the old ChemFab factory, which appears to be reported the nexus of the water contamination in this area and in others.
Fortunately, all these homes across the street over here are on town water, which really helps.
All I'm getting at is if the answer is yes, it means that there is not.
It means there's something in the ground that's getting into the river.
Okay.
And the penultimate stop on this tour was at Pembroke Nurseries, one of the most affected areas in levels of PFOA.
Tell them we'll move as fast as we can.
Okay.
And meanwhile, go down to the Buffalo there and get your water.
Definitely.
Or up to the store.
Oh yeah.
You can get Pennsylvania water up there.
Yeah, North Bennington would appreciate no cost.
Exactly. No, that's the goal here. So that's one of the things we're pushing the company to be doing.
As a taxpayer here, I
Yep.
really appreciate it.
I agree. You certainly shouldn't have to pay for it. You didn't create the problem.
Right.
The governor and other state environmental and health officials then came here to Bennington College for a forum with residents. The governor first made opening statements.
Listen, I just want to say to all of you, I am delighted to be here. Obviously, I wish I wasn't, and I wish you weren't. And we're in this together. But we all know, as Vermonters, that our homes are our sanctuaries. They're also, in many cases, our single greatest investment. But there is nothing more upsetting and heartbreaking than when you realize that you are raising your family, feeding your kids, working hard, trying to do everything that you can to make things work, and then you realize that your water, potentially, is contributing to health challenges that you're not sure might or might not happen, water that's polluted by a corporation that was making products here. And all I can say is my team is going to work together with you to get answers, to figure out, obviously, what wells are contaminated, what water is contaminated. We're also going to be testing soils, figure out whether you can safely grow your tomatoes and your cucumbers this time, and work together with you to get you bottled water until we come up with a permanent water solution. The bad news is, as you know, that the wells that we tested, 5 came back with contamination. 3 are residential, 2 are commercial. One is, as you know, the water system, the well to the wastewater treatment plant. The other's down at Pembroke, where I just was. Sorry, channel whatever. This originally began when your senators came to us and said, you know, over in New York State, they've been finding some pretty bad stuff. By the way the crow flies, that's only 3 or 4 miles away. We're concerned about North Bennington. And we immediately got our team in here testing. We know what the results were. And literally within an hour and 15 minutes of my learning about this, I said, let's call the press, let's get a hold of folks in North Bennington. We are going to be entirely transparent about everything that we find and know, and work together as Vermonters to not only get to the bottom of what's going on, but to work as a team to find solutions. So that's the spirit with which we arrived here. And I want to thank my team, I want to thank the community for doing this the Vermont way. I got to say, Norm LeBlanc is an example, was out there checking our water buffaloes when they were potentially freezing up, making sure that they didn't freeze up so the folks had water. When they sent in stacks of water bottles that needed to be moved. We didn't realize when they arrived that we had to be moving them with a forklift. He went out, found the forklift, came back, got the problem solved. I mean, lots of folks coming together. The fire department, so many folks. You're obviously your select board, your community leaders to help us find our way through this process. So my message is simple. We're in this together. We wish we weren't. We're going to require the company to make us whole again and do everything that we can to hold them accountable for getting us into this mess. I just want to say that we will learn a lot from testing in the coming weeks. Obviously, if we're now testing into water in brooks and rivers, if in fact there's contamination in the water of the rivers at this time, it tells us a lot. It suggests that the contamination is in the ground, not brought to us through an airborne process that had this over time get into wells from rainwater and other emissions at the time of the plant. You may recall that when ChemFab shut down the plant here in 2002, I believe it was, and moved their jobs either across the state line to New York or to New Hampshire. They said at the time, and I just read the press clip, that one of the reasons they were leaving was because Vermont had higher standards for air emission than the states that they were moving to, and therefore it would be cheaper for them to not have to meet those standards. So let's remember when we talk about the burdens of permitting in Vermont, when we hear about the terrible burden Vermont places on corporations to try and stop them from polluting with higher standards than the states around us, there is a reason for this. It's to protect the health and welfare of Vermonters. Government does matter, and we are going to make sure that we matter as we pursue solutions to what is a horrid situation. So we're in this with you, we're in this together. It's heartbreaking that we're here, but we're going to work cooperatively with you and transparently to try and figure out how big a mess we're in and how we dig our way out of it.
The governor then opened it up and took questions from concerned residents.
Sandy Sumner, I am well number 2 on their list that was tested positive. So Governor, since we have you here, of course my neighbors and I are looking down the road, and probably most likely you will be no longer in the governor's seat by the time some of the harder issues surface. Corporate world being corporate world, we're expecting some pushback. We have no idea at this point. Right now, Saint-Gobain is being, working with, your state, with our state, with your officials. But we are anticipating some pushback at some point. So, is there any way you can give us any guarantee that when the pushback, if the pushback does come, that the state is prepared to actually see this through for possibly years to come?
So, as you know, I can't control what a future governor can do or will do. And as you know, I'm not running for re-election. I'm coming back to Southern Vermont, the place where I belong. But having said that, you have an extraordinary team. You've got legislators that care. You've got a state that cares. and we have neighboring governors that are invested in this that will be still here. Governor Cuomo and I have been working together on this one. He's very, very concerned about what's going on next door. Governor Hassan in New Hampshire is just starting to figure out what's happening there. This I can assure you, as long as I'm governor, we're going to hold. First, let's figure out what the problem is, how deep it is, how it got here, and then I'm going to make sure that I do everything I can between now and January to work out the details with the company, with the team that you just heard from, because we've got a great team, to hold them accountable. You also have to ask candidates running for governor, listen, are you going to stand by us? We got a problem here. And, Senator Sears often refers to this as the forgotten kingdom. Montpelier does not always, as a kid that was born and raised in Southern Vermont, I'm the first governor from Southern Vermont in almost 50 years. We know that Montpelier can sometimes forget this end of the state. So you hold their feet to their fire. I will do everything I can to work with this company to hold their feet to the fire, and the next governor is going to have to have the same passion about this challenge, or they shouldn't win Bennington County.